Good morning, traders. So let's get cracking with the DAX. Now, the DAX is giving me some very mixed signals at the moment. So on the weekly, we do have this trend line here, downward trend line. So this is the third touch on the weekly. So that is our new downward trend. Okay, and listen to what I'm saying. This is the new downward trend. Okay, so that's 3 weekly touches. So to break through this is going to take a lot. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is we have had a bullish twist here in the cloud. We have had a bullish crossover of Dickinson and Kijinson, and we're pretty much sitting in price here with Jacob's band. Okay, so that's the one area. So we have a new downward trend in place, but we have a lot of bullish signals. Are we going to break that downward trend or not? My experience, when you start hitting a third test, or sort of a third touch of a trend line, that starts becoming a solid trend line. And the higher the time frames, the more solid that trend line is. So that's my first concern. Okay, so let's get down to the daily. And right now, from a daily perspective, we've had a good run. Okay, and I have been waiting for a continuation of this run. So for me, it's been pull back and then basically accelerate the top. And you can see we've had another bullish crossover here. And normally when the crossover is this side of the cloud, it's a pretty bullish signal. Chico's band is above price at the moment, clear air above it, nothing to stop it. Okay, but now if I just take a look at price action, and I'm going to put in that level there. Okay, it's very messy, but you can see there's a lot happening at this level to the left. Nothing more, okay? That's really just in this area here. And we had an indecision bar, so that was our first pull back. We've now hit the same area and we've got an inside bar. So this is a daily double top that is in place, okay? And that is pretty worrying for any of the bulls. We also have obviously our new, let's just delete that, and okay, so even if we leave it like that, so we had a trend line and we've basically had another rejection of that trend line. So that's a third touch on this trend line. So that is still a pretty bearish setup. Okay, so Ichimoku perspective is telling us that there's more upside to come with this crossover that we had here. And under normal circumstances, I would tend to go with that, but based on the geopolitical noise that's happening at the moment, I'm going to be rather cautious. So let's just go to the 4 hour and see what I can find here. Okay, so we could just end up here with a massive range. Okay, so this could just be the range that we're going to be trading. So this is now the top of range, and we come all the way down the bottom, and we sort of zigzag in between here. On the 4 hour, you can see the crossover that we've had on the oscillators, and everything's pointing down. MACD is pointing down. Everything is basically pointing to the downside at this stage. Ichimoku is bullish. Okay, but from a price action perspective, I'm not entirely convinced. Okay, I think we've got some more downside coming. Let's just get down to the hour, see if we see anything clearer here. So first things first, this rally and these tails here was on the 50% Fibonacci. Okay, so ideally what you want to see is you'd like to see a retest up here or a retracement, and then we start moving to the downside. But if I look at what the futures market is at the moment, and DAX futures is pretty much down 69 points, down 0.5%. The DAX futures is sitting at 12,978 as I speak, and that is lower than where we closed. Okay, so that could we could very well open below the 1 hour Kijun-sen. And often when we break the Kijun-sen, there's acceleration anyway. But if you look to the left, what's been happening, we've been in and out the cloud and in and out, in and out, in and out. So, yeah, I'm not entirely convinced that that's going to be. I don't want the proper. I just want to get rid of this Fibonacci. There we go. Right. Okay. So we've also had a rally, we've had a channel, and we've had a channel break. But futures are saying we're going to open below the channel break. So what we could be sitting with here is megaphone formation at the moment. So yeah, I think for the DAX, the euro is going to be a key element for us today. So if the dollar gets stronger today, then the euro is going to get weaker, and that will give us strength on the DAX. But if the dollar gets hammered today with this trade war spat that's happening, obviously the euro will get stronger against the dollar, and that will accelerate the downside for the DAX. Okay, so that's kind of I think a major influencer here. So if we get a weaker dollar and the US sell-off continues with this trade war, then the DAX is going to follow suit. So that's kind of where I'm leaning at the moment, is looking for more downside. But what we're going to do is we're going to trade it off a lower time frame, and for me that's the 12 minutes. So let's just have a look here. You can see we've rallied strongly. We've then hit a level and we bounced off the level, and now we've broken through the cloud. So what I'll be looking for is any kind of a bearish action in this zone or lower down, okay, below the cloud, and I will trade that accordingly. So if this break of the cloud here holds and we continue accelerating to the downside, you can see there's nothing really bearish at the moment on ichimoku, but at the open it may change. Okay, the other thing that I can see here is you can see these two oscillators here, these stochastics are starting to group. And remember what I said, when they group apart like this and turn to the downside, it's normally a pretty aggressive move as well. Okay, so I think that's my play for the day on the DAX. I'm looking for a short. The only debate is where I'm going to get that short from. So it may only happen from a break below this level here. This flat cloud, you've got a bit of flat cloud, you have all these tails, and the 200 EMA on the 12 minute. So it may only happen, yeah, so we may gap down below this area and then battle to get back up through this level and then just fall off. Okay. So yeah, so that's kind of my play at the moment. If we do gap down and then sort of in that first hour of trading just gradually meander to test the cloud, it will be a worthwhile trade. And if you get a crossover of, we've already had the twist, but if we get a bearish crossover of Kijun-sen and Kijun-sen here, that's just going to add fuel to the fire. And yeah, then I think we should get a pretty good acceleration to the downside. Okay, so yeah, so that's my trade for the day. As I say, very mixed signals on the DAX, and the euro is going to be the key element to this, or whether we sink or swim. And my bias at the moment is that we're going to sink. So I think all the economic news is out the way now, and the only key driver right now is trade war. And I haven't seen all the tariffs that have been slapped onto, that the US and China have slapped onto each other at the moment, but I can only imagine that it's going to get nasty. Anyway, guys, so that's my trade for the day. Really looking for shorts on the DAX. And but again, just keep those stops tight, because the bigger picture here is pretty much still a wider range. Okay, so I don't think we're going to fall to the floor. It's not the way the markets are geared. So, but we may have a pretty deep retracement here. And And on the daily, we are, for all intents and purposes, we are still bullish. So the level that you'd be looking for to take some profit would be in this zone here on Kijinson and Tikinson and the test of this previous breakout area. So that's kind of what I'm looking for today. Anyway, guys, hope it helps, and I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow. Enjoy the day. Cheers, man.